Good afternoon, everyone. And I say good afternoon to those who are watching online as well. This is an incredible tribute to a man well-loved and whose life we will celebrate this afternoon. I just always at this moment before the service is underway marvel at the connections in life. I want to tell you that I'm envious of you. That's because from what I've learned about Richard, I would love to have known him. And I believe that knowing him would have made my life better. My name is Dave Foley. I'm the celebrant here this afternoon. Joanne and the family have paid me the great honor of asking me to preside today, and I thank them for that. We're going to talk and we're going to listen to music. We're going to see pictures. And then, for some of us, the real tribute will continue as we move across to the Harvey Room for a fellowship lunch that has been provided for us. It's my experience that what begins here continues there and actually very often increases because we'll have time to talk to one another, to remember together in a way that the formality of a service like this doesn't necessarily allow. And I remind you that as long as we honor and celebrate Richard, he is never gone. I'd like to share with you just a little story. It's an extract from The Little Prince. I don't know how many of you read that book when you were children. It was one of my favorite books. And I love this little snippet of it. People have stars, but they aren't the same. For travelers, the stars are guides. For other people, they're nothing but tiny lights. And for still others, for scholars, they're problems. For my businessman, they were gold. But all those stars are silent stars. You, though, you will have stars like nobody else. What do you mean? Asked the prince. When you look up at the sky at night, since I'll be living on one of them, since I'll be laughing on one of them, for you it'll be as if all the stars are laughing. You will have stars that can laugh. And he laughed again. Then he said, and when you're consoled, everyone is eventually consoled. You'll be glad that you have known me. You'll always be my friend, my father, my husband, my son, my uncle. You'll always be the person in relationship to me that you are now. You'll be glad you've known me. You'll feel like laughing with me, and you'll open your window sometimes just for the fun of it. And your friends will be amazed to see you laughing while you're looking up at the sky. Then you'll tell them, yeah, it's the stars. They always make me laugh. They'll think you're crazy. It'll be a nasty trick, but it will work. I think that a story like that helps us to understand something about the continuity of life. I think it's in The Lord of the Rings that it is said that the road goes on and on and on. And that's what life is. Life does not cease at death. It can't, you see, because someone is alive in your heart who is not physically present here. And so, he's not dead from that perspective. Oh, I know that those are just words. And I know that we still have to deal with the one consequence of death, which is separation. It will be different for you in your relationship with Richard from now on. But the relationship will last as long as he lives within your heart. We're going to listen to several tributes this afternoon, and we're going to, a little later on, view some pictures. You may find yourself in those pictures. You may be able to say, I remember that. You may want to laugh, and I encourage you, if you do want to, laugh then for sure. It seems to me, from what I've heard and learned, that Richard liked to laugh. He liked to play tricks, and he wanted to laugh with other people. So let it happen. You may be really reminded of something poignant and sad. You may feel that you want to cry. Cry. Someone has said that our tears are simply memories in motion. So let the tears flow and the memories that they evoke for you. At this time, I'm going to ask Christopher Zaremba, Richard's nephew, if he would come and speak to us, please. Maybe you can start with that one if you need it. Sure.
I wanted to take time out to thank each and every one of you for visiting with all of us today to celebrate the life of my Uncle Richard. For anybody I haven't met, my name is Christopher. I think I can safely say I was his favorite nephew. At least I hope so, since I'm kind of the only one. Sorry, I got my sense of humor from him and my dad. Richard was born March 16th, 1963, to his parents Steve and Helen, and his 5-year-old brother Randy. He was never shy to get his hands dirty and enjoyed nature, animals, and especially bugs from a young age. One story from Grandma, she reached into Uncle Richard's pants pockets to do some laundry and pulled out a big fat beetle. Another time, while checking on Richard during his nap, she found a worm crawling around in bed with him. Who knows how it got there? Wasn't all about bugs, though. There was one horse on the farm growing up that would always buck and kick whenever Grandpa tried to ride it. One day, Grandma looked out and saw Uncle Richard riding bareback on the horse. She went up to check on him, and his story was he had called the horse over, petted it, told the horse he wanted to ride it, and asked it, please, not to hurt him, so he hopped on. Not all the stories were as gentle, though. Dad recalled a story when his younger brother Richard was about 5. Dad caught a small bird and brought it to the house. A few hours later, Richard said to his older brother, "Man, that bird has a small gizzard." When Dad went out on the steps, there, in a can, was water and the bird that Richard had butchered and cleaned, and sure enough, that bird had a really little gizzard. As he grew up, Richard loved playing baseball, curling, and most sports that were available in the area. As an adult, one of his favorite hobbies was golf, especially enjoying tee times locally and while traveling with his wife, Joanne. There was one interest that stuck around from a young age, and that was his love of cars. It started with trucks, then his muscle cars were truly a passion of his that he cared for and was proud to have worked so hard to get. From my time growing up with him, Uncle Richard was always the fun uncle that wanted to make sure those around him were having a good time. From a young age, I always remember enjoying visiting Uncle Richard's to play Nintendo on the old big screen TV, bounce on the trampoline, take Ashley's pink Barbie Jeep Power Wheels for her ride, or take one of the trikes out for a cruise, hopefully without falling off the back or running into one of Grandma's potted plants. He wouldn't hesitate to set aside time to take my sister Trina for crazy rides up and down the hills on the West Road, treating it like a roller coaster, or taking her for crazy rides on the Odyssey. I will also always remember his basement as the closest thing to a Blockbuster we had on the farm. My best friend Spencer and I would cruise out to Uncle Richard's to borrow movies from his massive collection. I think at least a quarter of it was every movie Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal had ever been in. I wish I'd had the chance to have one more pig roast or barbecue, maybe a friendly race with our cars, even if I know he'd destroy me. I know that even if I won't get those opportunities, I won't soon forget the great uncle he was. He leaves all of us here as a father, husband, son, brother, uncle, and friend. He made many connections through the years and left a lasting impression with whose enthusiasm and joy for life on those around him. His determination, entrepreneurial spirit, and effort to always enjoy life and time with those around him are qualities I know will live on through my cousins, and is something we can all look up to. I'm grateful for the time I got to spend with him growing up. Even though he's gone too soon, he lives on through all of us. Thank you for taking the time to pay your condolences to our beloved departed soul. May he rest in peace.
Well done and well said. Thank you. You know, often when I'm preparing for a celebration service like this, at my first meeting with the family, I'll ask, is there anyone that will be paying tribute? Usually at that first meeting, there's quite a pause, and then it's, well, we're thinking, or we're going to, or, but in this case, there was no hesitation at all. Right away, 3 names were given to me. And I see that as reflecting on the character of Richard. His family and his friends, hurting though they are, wanted to make sure that all of us knew everything they could tell us about this incredible person. And so I say thank you to all 3 who will be speaking today. His best friend, Kelly Meyer, and his wife Cheryl, are going to come and share something of their memories with us. Maybe you could use those 2.
What does one say when the unthinkable happens?
If anyone doesn't know me, I am Kelly Meyer, and this is my wife Cheryl. Richard was our friend and our family.
I look around and I'm not surprised to see so many of you here today to pay your respects. Thank you for coming.
I consider it a privilege to be asked to say a few words about Richard, AKA Richie, Harry, RZ, the Rat Man, Harry Inheritance, and so on. Probably called worse at times. Son to Steve and Helen, brother to Randy, loving husband to Joanne, father to Ashley, Taylor, and Jaden. He was a stepfather, a papa, uncle, cousin, neighbor, and friend to many, and often a pain in my ass. A life well lived. That was our Zed. I mean, let's face it, the guy didn't exactly work overly hard. Yet, if you spoke to him, he was always very busy, working hard. I always bugged him that he never worked a day in his life, like he retired 20 years ago. I remind him the only job he ever had was to hold down the couch, rip open a six-pack of beer, or on a very busy day, count his stacks of money. I'd bug him that he never needed a businessman's phone like my BlackBerry, because all he did on his was was to bug people, all of us who were trying to do their work. And I'm sure many of you got your daily phone call every single day. It went something like this.
Kelly, what you doing?
I'm trying to work, you?
I've been up for hours already working, you know. You're probably still in your pajamas and I've put in a full day's work before you even open your eyes.
Man, you don't know what a full day's work is, Richie.
I see it's -2. Did the Ford start? Or should I come boost you with the mighty Dodge? Again.
I'll come and boost you and your Dodge, you piece of...
Yep. Can you borrow me some cash?
Richie, you got more money than I do.
Yeah, right. I called and asked Bill Gates and Donald Trump, and they said they got none to spare. Said I'd better call you and you'd set me up, and that there sort of thing.
I'm sure, Richie, you know I'm broke.
Yep. Well, busy day today. I might need a hand.
Well, that's because he always had something going on, and the guy wouldn't do anything on his own. If he didn't get me, it was either Bert or the boys, Jaden, Joanne, Gopher, Ashley, or Taylor, someone, anyone. He always needed a hired hand, like 24/7. Then he'd always end with his call with the famous,
Okay, well, I shall let you go.
I will miss those phone calls. Richard always took the time for those phone calls and for his family and his friends.
He lived well, enjoyed his site at Palliser golfing and boating, had his RV, and took vacations. He and Joe always had company, whether at the lake or at home, where he tinkered endlessly in the shop. They always made you feel welcome, and good food and plenty of drinks were served.
Many, many good times and great memories. Joanne,
Joanne, we know how very lucky he was to have found his way back to you. You are an incredible lady. Kelly told you to run away, but seriously, he loved you. He welcomed your family as his own, pardon me. We are very sorry for your loss. You deserve many, many more years to fulfill all the plans the two of you were making. Ashley, Taylor, and Jaden, your dad was so very proud of you all. He was a rock in your lives, someone you could always depend on, a constant.
Yeah, a constant calling, texting, bugging, teasing, often bellowing, bossing, nagging. Oh, sorry. But all he did with love and admiration for you. No one can fill his shoes. As a dad, he was truly the best.
To my daughter Ashley, Richard's oldest, my heart breaks. Your loss is unmeasurable. He was a rock, a great dad. Richard's love and pride for all of his children always showed. I must admit, I once worried about a little girl alone on the farm with her dad. To say you survived falls short. You thrived. You are a beautiful, amazing daughter, smart and kind and caring. And you dress well. Well, I mean, you get that from me, of course. Obviously, because I swear the man was colorblind. For the love of God, the outfits you'd come home in sometimes. The best of him lives in you, with you forever. He is not gone. He is, I believe, with you and will continue to guide you and watch over you.
I believe that also. Jaden, you were like a little mini RZ. Your love obsession with the Dodgers is passed down, but I love you anyways. And Taylor, I still have hope for you. Go forward. I spent many hours watching Richard with you both, and he did an amazing job raising you. Although at times difficult, he guided you with good intentions, wanting you to be the best, and the best you are indeed. Richard and I had many adventures. Sometimes a 1 or 2 hour project became a 2-day or even the weekend affair. Sometimes things snowballed, got out of hand, and involved others. I remember one time which included Pete Gross. One spring I left an Oro Lake Cabaret, driving alone, kind of tight a bit. And on the way home, a turn came out of nowhere, a turn which I failed to make, and putting myself in the ditch. No big deal, it happens. I was rescued, I got home. Daylight came, and I got Richard and Pete, and we went back all the way south to get the truck out. Well, Richie nearly peed himself laughing at the scene. It was quite a sight. The whole front end of the truck was immersed in the water, in a ditch, and apparently I didn't quite convey the full extent of the situation. Like, how are we going to get this thing out? Well, we decided we needed a beer, as we discussed it, and I had a beer in the back of the truck. So Richard went to get them, and as he opened the door, the back door, he slipped, fell down, and went waist deep into the cold water. Well, we had another good laugh, had a beer or two. I borrowed a smoke or two from him, unlike me. And then it was time to start her up and pull her out. Except one thing, I forgot the keys. All the way back to Spring Valley to get the keys. Richard cursed me out for that one. Another one, Robert Renzo reminded me of his adventure south, heading to Phoenix on a whim with Todd, Craig, and Rich. 4 guys in the front seat of a half-ton truck. Sounded like a bad movie, but more like a gong show. They ended up not making Phoenix, as the law encourages them to turn around, go north, do not stop until you get to Canada, and recommended they never return again. The other particulars are not appropriate right now. Oh man, I could go on and on. Endless stories, priceless memories.
It's times like this that the words don't do justice. What can you say? There is really no right or nothing wrong that you can say. But I am fond of these words I heard once, and I hope they bring you comfort. Goes something like this: for every tear of sorrow as we say goodbye on this side, there is a tear of joy as they gather on the other side.
To the ones who have gone before you, before, both family and friends, like the big fella Greg, Chris, Betty, Wilford, Benika, and so many others, Richard will be there. Never forgotten, dearly missed. Always remembered, forever loved. Till we meet again, my friend, goodbye and Godspeed.
Boy, I wish you knew some of the other details to some of those stories. What an incredible man. And thank you for being willing to share that with us. And now I'm going to call on his daughter, Taylor, to come and share some of her thoughts, memories, and feelings with us.
Okay, I'm a little nervous. Just give me a second. Okay. I'm going to try and go slow, but I'm going to start by saying that my father was a good man, a great friend, a loving husband, and the best dad. And this isn't fair. Life truly isn't fair, I've realized. And maybe there is no reason or special meaning behind any of it. But I do know that he lived fully, lived lifetimes over. He had so many stories and memories and adventures, so many friends, as you can see here today, and laughs and phone calls, of course. He had 3 children, 3 wives as well. I know. I was a little worried about putting that one in there, but. He had loved deeply, and I believe that's the most important thing, that he had been cherished, he had loved, and been loved in return. I wish I could tell him how proud I am of him, how wonderful I thought of him. Not just as a father, but as a person. Even before, I would find myself wishing, as I sat right next to him, that I could have known him when he was young. I'd like to think that we would have been friends. I feel like he must have been just as good, but in a different way, in a different life. And for him, I'm going to try to forgive. Forgive him, forgive myself, and forgive the world for what happened. As soon as you met my father, he would decide that you were friends. You had no choice in the matter. He would get your cell phone number, and that was it. He was calling every day and chatting and asking for all the gossip. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the people here today had talked to him very recently. I keep thinking he was the reason phone companies charge so much. We might all get discounts now, who knows? He was so generous, would give you anything you wanted, anything you asked for. He was kind and funny, always laughing and always smiling. He was so very passionate, and maybe that's not something many people would have described him as, but it's entirely true. He was either very happy or very sad or very angry or very cheerful. He didn't live in shades of gray. To put it simply, he felt the world deeply, and that couldn't have been easy for him at times. And I saw that, noticed it, but he always got back up better than ever. He was so strong, and I feel a little guilty now that maybe he never even knew that. I should have told him how admirable his strength was, and I'm going to remember that and try to do it myself. My father loved funerals, and that sounds a bit morbid, but he did. And I never stopped to ask why. I never really questioned it. And I wish I had, because maybe there was something meaningful behind it. Maybe he just liked to hear about all the good things of a person, the praise and the good memories. Hearing the story of one's life, one's whole life, start to finish. It's bittersweet, but sweet nonetheless. Throughout this time, I've learned that life can be defined the same as the floors and stories of a building. Some are smaller, only a few stories, and some can be over 90 floors tall, one on top of the other. All can be different, look different, but each is a part of the whole. The bottom supports the top. Each matters in their own separate way. And no, we don't get to pick and choose how many stories we are allotted, but it's still there. The building stands, but it just won't grow. And it's something I must accept, we all must accept. But he's here. He's with us, looking down from the top floor. And I'm so grateful for him. Grateful for the time we all had, as short as it feels. He was such a good dad to us three. He would walk us all to the bus every morning and be outside waiting for us all to get off after school. He would brush my hair for me in the mornings, and he would race Jaden in their cars. He always talked about how much he missed Ashley when she moved out. He took care of all of us in any way he could. He did his very best, and it was. Ashley was his first and his confidant, the one that made him a father. I see him in Ashley, in her work ethic, in the way she carries herself. Jaden was his buddy, his boy, and I see him in Jaden's smile, his laugh, and how deeply he cares for those around him. I see him every time I look in the mirror. I see him in myself when all I want is to be around others, to be a social butterfly. And finally, I see him in Joanne. And I will cherish her as he did, as you all will, because she held his hand to the very end, stayed by his side. And I ask you all to talk about him, to please share memories. Please remember him at his best. He always did love to gossip. And I hope you all leave here today and live a life more like my father did. A life of generosity, of friendship, of love, and most importantly, too many phone calls. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well done indeed. You may be a social butterfly, but I think that if you have a life ahead of you that includes public speaking, you're going to do very, very well indeed. I watched from back here, of course. You maybe wouldn't have seen it, but she was able to do that, standing still and calm and serene, on heels that are, man, well done. And now we're going to take a few minutes to look at some scenes from Richard's life. Let's watch.
I still talk to you whenever I'm alone. I hear you in my prayers, feel you in the wind that blows. I wonder how you are, what you doing way up there. Are you laughing or are you crying? 'Cause you miss us all down here. Only God knows when you'll smile and take my hand when I see you again. When I see you again. I wish I had the chance to hold you one last time. It hurts me to know we never got to say goodbye. But you're never really gone, 'cause your memory remains. I miss you more than words could ever help me to explain. Only God knows when this road I'm on will end, and I'll see you again. I'll see you when the sun runs out, when the song is over and the curtain falls down. I'll see you on the other side, and you can show me what it's like. But only God knows when you'll smile and take my hand. And I'll say, how have you been? When I see you again, I'll see you again. When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step. And I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck, yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. With so much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through, all these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going,
Those pictures, the scenes from his life, showed him virtually always surrounded by people, his family, and his friends. Many of you who are in this room or who are watching online found yourselves in those pictures. But we've come now to our final few moments here today in this room. I remind you that when I pronounce the benediction and we leave to go to the Harvey room, our time of celebration is not over. I would echo what was said just a few moments ago. Share your stories. Talk with one another. Talk with his family, his mother, his wife, his children, brother, all of them. Let them know that he was important to you and how. I'm going to invite you to be still and calm, and I ask you, if you would please, to bow your heads and your hearts as I speak a blessing on Richard. Richard, we don't even know where to begin to add blessing to your life in eternity. We are incredibly grateful for the time that you have spent with us here. And we need you to know that your life was a blessing, even though you might not have used that word. It's really, really hard for us to release you, Richard, not because we don't want you to be able to enjoy the very best of existence now, free of pain and any kind of suffering or confusion. We'll take comfort in knowing that you are experiencing peace and joy now. You lived a lively, happy, and oh my goodness, it was a loud life. And you've brought love and happiness to so many people by your generous spirit of sharing and the use of your many talents and skills, even if most often you used our talent and skills to work with you. By now, you are experiencing the gatherings with so many of your family and friends who have been waiting to hear the gossip from you and who are wanting to include you in adventures that we cannot even conceive of. So, Richard, have fun. Feel at home. Make some noise. And as it was suggested, we promise you that we will live our lives in a way that would make you proud and happy, and that we will try to be a blessing to others as you were to us. And God, we commend this good man to you, to your eternal care and keeping. You see, we're lifting him up with our hands, and we can't let go until we know that he is now resting secure in your hands. May he find peace and joy in your presence. May he be free of all pain and limitations. May he be the fine man you created him to be. Amen. In a moment, I will pronounce the benediction, and we will move to the Harvey room. Please wait for the direction from the funeral home staff as we exit from here. Father, we thank you for how you've helped each one of us through the past days. Many in this gathering are still caught by surprise. Others are in a suspended belief that Richard has really passed on. But the time has come for us to close this chapter, and so we commit to your keeping every person who is present here in this room and watching today online. Meet their needs for comfort, grace, peace, O God. Show yourself strong and mighty on their behalf. Be sufficient for every situation and need. And now I say to you, my friends, as we conclude today, go in peace. Would you please rise?
Biggest single I ever had, right here. Whenever I chance to meet old friends on the street, thank you. They wonder how does a man get to be this way? Always got a smiling face, and anytime and any place. And every time they ask me why, I just smile and say, 'cause you've got to kiss an angel good morning and let her know you think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning and love her like the devil when you get back home. Though people may try to guess the secret of our happiness, but some of them never learn it's a simple thing. The secret I'm speaking of is a woman and a man in love, and the answer is in this song that I always sing. 'Cause you've got to kiss an angel good morning and let her know you think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning and love her like the devil when you get back home. Kiss an angel good morning let her know you think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning and love her like the devil when you get back